Hello, welcome to CEE 109. Today we are going to continue our discussion of the different methods or techniques to solve for depreciation. So today we are going to discuss the sinking fund method. So the sinking fund method, this method assumes that a sinking fund is established in which funds will accumulate for the replacement. The total depreciation that has taken place to any given time is assumed to be equal to the accumulated amount in the sinking fund at that time. So, ang sinking fund method, it is a way to set aside funds para if in the later time after the useful years of our purchase is makapalit na pud tag new replacement. So for example, ingon ani, ang imuhang company need gyud nila og machine. So kanina machine naa ni siya first cost, naa ni siya useful life, and naa ni siya salvage value. So mag-depreciate siya over time. So at the first year nagipalit nimo ang machine, mag-set aside pud kag money para if mahuman na ang useful life sa imong gipalit, makapalit na pud kag new replacement. Kasi baka yung technology sa machine is ma-obsolete na siya or ma-phase out na siya in the future. So, mangandam kadaan ba, mag-prepare kadaan, samtang ginagamit nimo ang machine, nag-set aside pud ka og money para if ever man na is kuana na nimo dispose na kay pampalit og bag-o. So, how do we solve this money? Okay, so it follows the annual depreciation D formula equal to FC minus SV times the interest over 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. So, nganong na ay interest? Kasi, di ba, mag-set aside man ka og money every year habang nag-depreciate ang ato ang gipalit, nag-set aside pud kag money na mao imong patubuon para in the future na akay magamit. So, na ay interest rate. Okay? So, as you can notice, this is quite familiar. Diba? This is the formula for murag sa annuity. Okay? Kasi, ang sinking fund, based na siya sa annuity. So, the total depreciation after X years, so for example, if interested lang ka sa total depreciation accumulated for X years, so mao ni siya ang formula A over I times 1 plus I raised to X minus 1. Okay? And don't forget that if you are concerned or interested for the book value, so that is just fixed cost minus the total depreciation. Okay? So, yun ang pag-solve for the depreciation using the sinking fund method. Okay, so let's have an example first. A unit of welding machine cost 45,000 with an estimated life of 5 years. Its salvage value is 2,500. Assuming that the money is deposited in the bank giving 8.5%, solve for the annual depreciation using sinking fund method. Okay, so isolve na nato ang sinking fund depreciation using sinking fund method. So, first, let's solve muna the annual depreciation, which is given by this formula, FC minus SV times I over 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Okay, so substitute. So, ang fixed cost dyan is 45,000. Ang salvage value is 2,500. Ang interest is 8.5%, so that's equivalent to 0.085 over 1 plus 0.085 raised to 5 minus 1 kasi n is 5. Now, to solve for D, we have 7172.544. So, this is the equivalent depreciation using the sinking fund method every year. So, this amount, maupod na imuhang gina-invest. Okay, maupod na imong gina-invest para in the future, magkaroon ka ng pang-replacement. So, kung mao ni ang amount worth sa pag-depreciate sa ato ang machine, maupod ni ang equivalent amount na ato ang i-invest. Okay, next example, a 110,000 chemical plant had an estimated life of 6 years and a projected scrap value of 10,000. After 3 years of operation, an explosion happened, made it a total loss. So how much money would have to be raised to put up a new plant costing 150,000 if a depreciation reserve has been maintained during its 3 years of operation by sinking fund method? The money is worth 6%. Okay, so naado tayo chemical plant which is worth 110,000 and has an estimated life only of 6 years. Okay, so if we are to solve for the annual depreciation, ang FC nato dara 110,000 and then ang ato ang salvage value is 10,000 and then ang interest nato is 6%. Okay? So 1 plus I, 6% raised to n, useful life is 6 years minus 1. So let's solve for the annual depreciation. So we have 14,336.26. So mao po di mo equivalent amount na i-invest para in the later time na akay magamit. So what how much money would have to be raised to put up a new plant costing 150,000 if a depreciation reserve has been maintained during its 3 years of operation by sinking fund method? So pila na daw ang i-raise nimo na kwarta kung tanan bali 'di ba magpalit makag bag-o after 6 years. So pila daw imuhang ipuno na pud na kwarta para makapalit kag bag-o worth 150,000. Okay, so pila na lang daw ang kulang given na naa na kay reserve for 3 years. So isolve na to ang equivalent nimo na 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 gain for 3 years. So ang x na tong i-substitute for depreciation diri is 1x is 3. Okay? So therefore, when x is 3, ang total depreciation after 3 years is 45,640. Maupod ni ang imuhang supposedly na na-accumulate na amount. So if ang ato ang machine is worth 150,000, pag bago atong paliton, so pila na lang ang kulang. So ang kulang is of course ang cost sa bag-o na 150,000 minus sa imuha nang na-raise na amount. So mao ni ang kulang 104,359.08. Next, a certain machinery costs 50,000, lasts 12 years with a salvage value of 5,000. Money is worth 5%. If the owner decides to sell it after using it for 5 years, what should the price be so that he will not gain or lose financially in the transaction? Use sinking fund method of depreciation. Okay, so here it is. So naatay fixed cost na 50,000 and then we have also salvage value of 5,000. So if we are to solve for the annual depreciation, so the annual depreciation using sinking fund method following the formula is 2,827.17. Okay? So, ang pangutana dari, if the owner decides to sell it after using it for 5 years, what should the price be so that he will not gain or lose financially in the transaction? So, pila daw ang iyang ibaligya after 5 years. So, therefore, unsa iyang book value after 5 years. So, nangutana siya about book value dire. Okay, but we cannot solve book value unless we can solve for the depreciation. Kasi after all, book value is equal to fixed cost minus total depreciation. So, solve muna natin ang depreciation using this formula, and then we substitute x as 5 kasi after 5 years man daw. So, therefore, the annual depreciation, ang total depreciation rather is 15,621.73. So, ayaw mo confuse sa N ug X ha. Ang N is the useful life. Ang N is 12 mo. Nang 12 ang gisubstitute dere. Ang X is after 5 years man. So, mo na gisubstitute 5 dere. So, total depreciation after 5 years is 15,621.73. So, we are concerned, diba, sa book value. So, book value is the fixed cost. Fixed cost is 50,000 minus the total depreciation. So, we have the book value as 34,378.27. A dump truck was brought for 30,000 6 years ago. It will have a salvage value of 3,000 4 years from now. It is sold now for 8,000. What is its sunk cost if the depreciation method used is the sinking fund method? The rate is 6%. Okay, so naa daw kay dump truck nagipalit nimo 6 years ago. So, 4 years na lang daw ang nabilin sa iyaha. So, therefore, the useful life of the dump truck is 10. Okay? And then, the fixed cost is 30,000. Maong ang price sa pagpalit. The salvage value is 3,000. So, if we are to solve for the annual depreciation using the sinking fund method, then we can solve for the D as 2,048.43. By the way, the interest is 6%. Okay? So, naay times na i-trick ta sa useful life. So, as we can see in the problem, 10 gid iyang useful life. Kay 6 years ago pa man yung magipalit, plus 4 in the future, siya magka-salvage value. So, N is 10. So, therefore, if we are to solve for D, we can have it as 2,048.43. Now, karon gusto na nimo ibaligya ang imuhang dump truck. And you know na kung karon nimo ibaligya ang imong dump truck, 8,000 ang iyang worth. 'Di ba? Kasi kung 4 years from now pa nimo ibaligya, 3,000 ang worth. 'Di ba? Kung padugayon pa nimo baligya imong dump truck, mas gamay iyang value. So if karon nimo ibaligya, 8,000. So pila daw ang sunk cost? So ang sunk cost is total depreciation, the sunk cost is the book value for today, for this year, unsa ang book value sa ato ang machine for this day, and then, unsa ang iyahang, kung pila ang iyang book value, i-minus nato na siya sa selling price niya karon. So, unsaan man nato pag-solve sa book value? I-solve sa nato ang total depreciation, where the total depreciation is in this formula. So, substituting, unsang i-substitute sa x diri? 6. Kasi, karon man may ibaligya niya, 6 years naman ang nakalipas. So, masolve na to ang dx at x equal to 6, 14,288.45. Mao na ni ang equivalent na depreciation. So, para makuha na to ang book value sa ato ang machine karon, it's always, basta ha, book value is fixed cost, 30,000 minus total depreciation. So, mao ni ang book value ni karon. And then, sold man daw siya for 8,000. So, i-minus nato na siya. Therefore, the sunk cost is 7,711.55. Okay, so that's all for the sinking fund. Napaday last. A factory is constructed at a first cost of 8 million with an estimated salvage value of 200,000 at the end of 25 years. Find its appraisal value at the end of 10 years using the sinking method of depreciation, assuming an interest of 5%. So here is the formula for depreciation, and then we substitute the given. The first cost or fixed cost is 8 million. The salvage value is 200,000. The interest rate is 0.05. The useful life is 25 years. All in all, we have the annual depreciation as 163,429.17. Okay, now let's solve for the total depreciation at the end of 10 years. So when x is 10, so substituting it in the formula na ito, substitute x equal to 10. So we have the total depreciation after 10 years. By the way, wala na edit. So 10 years ito. Okay, so depreciation at the end of 10 years is 2,055,594.54. Okay, so find its appraisal value ang gipangita. So it's looking for the book value. Okay, find the appraisal value. So book value ang gipangita. So book value is always fixed cost minus depreciation. So we have 5,944,000. Okay, so that's all for the sinking fund. Now we move on to the declining balance method. So in this method, this is sometimes called the constant percentage method or the Matheson formula. It is assumed that the annual cost of the depreciation is a fixed percentage of the salvage value at the beginning of the year. The ratio of the depreciation in any year to the book value at the beginning at that year is constant throughout the life of the property and is designated by K, the rate of depreciation. So there is a declining balance method na agyapon ni siya rate sa depreciation. Kaya lang, ang rate sa depreciation is isolve pa nimo, dili siya given daan. So, ang iyang rate of depreciation is K. Okay, this denoted by K, where K is equal to 1 minus square root of SV over FC. So, SV is salvage value, FC is the fixed cost, and is the useful life. And then, if we are to solve for the book value at any year, so book value at year X, so that's equal to FC times 1 minus K raised to X. And if we are to solve naman the total depreciation until the X year, so if nakuha na nimo ang book value, nakuha na nimo ang total depreciation until X year, so that is given by fixed cost minus book value. Ano inani? Kasi 'di ba, book value is fixed cost minus depreciation. 'Di ba, book value is fixed cost minus depreciation. So therefore, depreciation is fixed cost minus book value. Parera na sila. And then, if we are only interested of the depreciation during a specific year X alone, so that depreciation is equal to fixed cost times 1 minus K raised to X minus 1 times K. Okay, where these are the following. FC is first cost, SV is salvage value, BV is book value, N is the useful life. Okay, so example. A machine costing 720,000 is estimated to have a life of 10 years. If the annual rate of depreciation is 25%, so determine first the book value using the constant percentage of the declining balance method. Next, depreciation during the 10th year and the total depreciation until the 10th year. Okay ha, so naado yung machine costing 720,000. So this would be your FC, fixed cost. Estimated to have a life of 10 years, so that would be our N. If the annual rate of depreciation is 25%, so K na ni diretso, dili na nimo need i-solve ang K. Kaya ningon naman siya, if the annual rate of depreciation is 25%, first determine the book value using the constant percentage of the declining balance method. So solve muna natin ang BV, book value. So remember that the book value at any year is equal to the fixed cost times 1 minus k raised to that year, x. Substituting in the formula, we have the fixed cost as 720,000 multiplied by 1 minus k na 0.25 raised to 10 kasi wala man po siya nag-ingon og specific year, no? Basta, to have a life of 10 years. So, 10 na ang x dara. So, therefore, the book value after 10 years is 40,545.73. Mani ang book value after 10 years. So, ang book value po, this is also the same as the salvage value. Kasi, at 10 naman ni, book value at x equal to 10 is also the same as salvage value. Kung dili ni 10 ang year diri, dili ni siya salvage value ning book value. Kay wala man niya na-reach pa ang useful life. Since ato ang gi-substitute sa x diri is the useful life sa tuang machine, so mahulog na ang book value at 10th year is also equivalent to the salvage value. Okay, so this is answer for letter A. Now, we move on to letter B. Ang pangutana sa letter B, depreciation during the 10th year. So, when we say depreciation during the 10th year, specific lang na during the 10th year ang depreciation. Specific ha. So, mao nitong formula. Katong gibutang dito for that year alone. Okay? So, for x equal to 10, substituting, we can have the specific na depreciation of that year, 13,515.24. So, at the 10th year, specific na depreciation niya is ito. Now, for letter C, total depreciation until the 10th year. So, when we say total depreciation, gikan pa tong year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and so on and so forth. Pag-abot sa year 10, gi-add nimo ang total depreciation. So, how do we get that? By using this formula. Total depreciation is equal to the fixed cost minus the book value. So therefore, 720,000 ang fixed cost, value is 40,545.73. So the total depreciation for the until the 10th year is ito, 679,454.27. So inanaon nato ni siya pag express sa table para mas masabtan. So naatay upat ka entry sa table, okay? So, naatay first column, year. Second column, book value at the beginning of the year. Third column, depreciation during the year. The fourth column, book value at the end of the year. Okay, sa year 1, ang book value nato at the beginning of the year is equal to the fixed cost. So, 720,000. Para makuha nimo ang depreciation during the year, ang fixed cost, i-times nimo na og 25%. I-times ang 720,000 og 25%, 180,000 na siya. Para makuha nimo ang book value at the end of the year, di ba book value is always equal to the fixed cost minus depreciation. So, fixed cost, 720,000 minus 180,000. So, natay book value na 540,000. Okay. Now, for the year 2, ang book value na pod nimo at the beginning of the year is katong dati, previous. Kaning 540,000, wala pod mo ibutang diri sa entry. Then, times 25%, so natin 135,000. And then, para makuha na ang book value for that year, ang fixed cost, i-minus natin na sa depreciation. So, natin 405,000. Karon, at the year 3 na sad, kung kinsa imong book value diri, motong sa dati. Okay, so, 405,000 lang at the beginning of the year. And then times 25% kaniha, i-times ang 25%, mo ni ang depreciation during that year. And then para makuha ang book value, fixed cost minus depreciation. So 303,750 and so on and so forth. up until maabot ka sa useful life na 10. Ang useful life is 10 man. So, ang book value diri is 40,546, which is the same sa atong na-solve ganina. Katong sa letter A. Sa letter B, unsa daw ang specific na depreciation at the 10th year? Specific lang nga sa 10th year alone. So, 13,515.24 sa letter B ni. Sa letter C, what is the total depreciation? So, from year 1 pa na. So, i-sum up na to na. So, add na to ni tanan. Ang total ana is 679,454.27. So, yung ani siya pag-solve if gusto ka mag-table-table lang. Table-table lang. Pero kung kapuyan ka, labi na taas ang useful life, pwede ra ka mag-formula. Kung interested lang ka for a specific year, so pwede ra na nimo gamiton ni mga formula. Okay? Pero kung makalimot ka sa formula, pwede ka mag-table. Tamban-tambanon nimo. Basta ang table na ay year, na ay book value at the beginning of the year, na ay depreciation during the year, and na ay book value at the end of the year. So, pwede ra na siya tinamban. Okay? Next, we move on to our next example. A machine costing 45,000 is estimated to have a salvage value of 4,350 when retired at the end of 6 years. Depreciation cost is computed using the constant percentage of the declining book value. What is the annual rate of depreciation? So here is the example for our annual rate of depreciation. So, formula pala. So, substitute lang natin. Ang salvage value is 4,350. Tapos, ang fixed cost is 45,000. Ang useful life is 6. So, ang pangutana, what is the annual rate of depreciation? So, K lang yung pangutana. So, K is 32.2%. Okay? Next. A radio service panel truck initially cost 56,000. Its resale value at the end of the 5th year of its useful life is estimated at 15,000. By means of the declining balance method, determine the depreciation charge for the second year. Okay, so naa daw kay truck, which is first cost niya is 56,000. Salvage value is 15. Resale value is 15,000. Useful life is 5. So the K here, or the percentage for the depreciation is 0.2316. Now, ang pangutana, determine the depreciation charge for the second year. So, specific lang, unsa ang depreciation charge for the second year. Okay, so kung ato na siyang i-table, year 1, the fixed cost or the book value at the beginning of the year is 56,000. The depreciation during the year is 56,000 times 0.2316. So depreciation is 12,969.6. And then at the book value at the end of the year, 56,000 minus depreciation, so we have 43,030.4. Now, going to year 2, ang mabook value at the beginning of the year is katong previous, so 43,030.4. And then, multiply natin yan sa K na 0.2316. Therefore, the depreciation during that specific year is 9,965.84. So, kani ang gipangutana ha, specific year na depreciation. If you want to use the formula, pwede din naman. Solve muna for K, and then solve for the specific depreciation for that year, which is ito na formula. So, substitute natin when X is 2. Therefore, depreciation for that specific year is also 9,965.841. Sorry, this must be 2. Wala na change. Dito yan siya. Okay, so that's it. Next. A machine has a cost of 7,350 and has a life of 8 years and has a salvage value of 350 at the end of 8 years. Determine its book value at the end of 4 years using the constant percentage of declining value. So here is the formula for K. So we have to solve for K, equivalent to 0.3165. And then, ang pangutana, determine its book value. So what is its book value at the end of 4 years? So when x is 4 dito. So substitute natin yan, makuha natin ang book value when x is 4, 1,604.127. So, anong kanina method? Kasi sinabi using the constant percentage of declining value. So, pareha na sa declining balance method. Same lang na sila. Next, ang double declining balance method. So, double declining balance method, same lang siya og kanang process sa declining balance method, only that the K is just equal to 2 over N, where N is the useful life. Diba ang K sa declining balance method, inani ang formula. Sa double declining balance method, 2 over N lang ang formula. Okay? And then, same na ang uban. Ana lang. Ang pag-solve lang sa K ang diferensya. Okay? Next. Example. An equipment costs 500,000 and has a salvage value of 25,000 after its useful life of 25 years. Using double declining balance method, what will be the book value of the equipment at the end of 8 years? Okay, so solve muna natin ang K. K is 2 over N para sa double declining balance method. So, K is 0.08. And then, solve natin ang book value daw at the end of 8 years. So, mo ang formula for the book value. Substitute lang na to. When x is 8, therefore, book value at 8th year is 256,609.4366. Mad Engineering firm owns an excavator that costs 90,000. After 8 years, it will have an estimated salvage value of 18,000. Compute the depreciation charge for double rate, declining balance method for first 2 years. So it's asking for the total depreciation for first 2 years. So year 1 plus year 2. Okay, so solve muna natin ang K. K is 2 over N, where N is 8. After 8 years man daw ang life. So, 0.25 ang K. And then, let's solve for the book value. So, the book value for first 2 years is 50,625. X is 2 ang ibutang ha. Now, it's asking for the depreciation for the first 2 years. We know that depreciation is equal to the fixed cost minus book value. So, substitute lang. We have the total depreciation as 39,375. Now, we move on to the next method, which is sum of years digit method. Okay, so inani ang sa sum of years digit method. So, isolve na to ang sum of years for a specific useful life. So, ang sum sa arithmetic, Sn equal to n over 2 times 1 plus n. Okay, nani siya. For year 1, ang depreciation, n over sum times Fc minus Sv. Fc is fixed cost sa Sv, salvage value. Pagka second year, useful life minus 1 over sum times Fc minus Sv. Pagka third year, n minus 2 over sum times Fc minus Sv. And then, pag maabot na to sa useful life n, sa pinaka-last na term, so that would be 1 over sum times Fc minus Sv. So, if, example, if n is 4, ang sum niya, di ba, is 10. Nganong 10? Kasi substitute ang 4. So, 10. Parera pod na sa 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Di ba? 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, 10. I-add ni mo tanan. Okay? So, nani siya, year 1. So, ang depreciation for the first year is N over sum. So, 4 over 10 times FC minus SV. Sa year 2 naman, ang depreciation, 4 minus 1 over 10 times FC minus SV. For the third year naman, 4 minus 2 over 10 times FC minus SV. For year 4, 4 minus 3 over N, FC minus SV. Okay? So, na yung pattern. Okay, let's have an example. Always remember BV, book value is equal to fixed cost minus depreciation. Okay, so the corporation purchased a machine for 1 million. Freight and installation charges amounted to 3% of the purchase price. If the machine shall be depreciated over a period of 8 years with a salvage value of 12%, determine the depreciation charge during the 5th year using SOYD or sum of years digit method. So, isolve muna natin ang total fixed cost. Okay, sum of years muna. So, ang sum of years, kay di ba, N is 8. 8 years man ang iyang life. So, ang sum ana is 36. Nga naman, 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Kung tambanon mo nag-add tanan, 36 na siya. Pero kung hindi ka gusto mag-add og tinamban, pwede formula. N over 2 times 1 plus N. So, all in all, 36. And then, solve for the first cost. The first cost, 1 million iyang purchase price. And then, naapamanday installation na 3% sa purchasing price. So, mag-add po kag 3% sa 1 million. So, all in all, the fixed cost is 1,030,000. And then, ang salvage value, 12% daw siya sa fixed cost. So, therefore, 12% of 1,030,000, 123,600. And then, solve for depreciation. So, ang depreciation at 5th year, kung ano ni siya, diretso. So, 8 minus 4. 8 minus 4 over SN. SN is 36. Times FC minus SV. So, depreciation at 5th year is 100,711.11. Okay, next, an asset is purchased for 9,000. Its estimated life is 10 years, after which it will be sold for 1,000. Find the book value during the third year if the sum of the years SOYD depreciation is used. Okay, so pwede na to na siya i-table. Solve sa nato ang sum of years. So, ang sum of years, N is 10 man. So, 10 over 2 times 1 plus 10 is 55. Parehara na sa 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. All in all, 55 po. Okay? And then, solve na to ang yahang depreciation. So, the first year, N is 10 over sum 55 times FC minus SV. So, 1454.55. Pagka second year, 10 minus 1. Basta second year, minus 1 dire. And then, kanina, pagka third year, 10 minus 2 na. Bantog, di ba nakita ninyo ang pattern? Kung saan depreciation for that year, ang i-minus diri is less 1 ani. So, if year 2 ang imong ginapangita, 10 minus 1. Kung year 3 imong ginapangita, 10 minus 2. Bantog diri sa first example, para makuha ang depreciation of 5th year, ang gibuhat, 8 minus 4. Dili 5. Kay previous month, so 5 minus 1 is 4 months. So, 8 minus 4. So, inana ang pattern ha. Muna siya. Okay, so na-solve na nato ang total depreciation. Ang ginapangita man is find the book value. So, isolve sa nato ang total depreciation. Mao 3,927.28. Remember that book value is fixed cost minus depreciation. So, the book value is 5,072.72. A company purchases an asset for 10,000 and plans to keep it for 20 years. If the salvage value is 0 at the end of 20th year, what is the depreciation in the third year? So, ang ginapangita lang, Unsa daw ang depreciation in the third year alone? Okay, so solve muna natin ang S20, sum of 20. So, when n is 20, so sum is 210. Fixed cost 10,000, salvage value 0. Okay, so buhat ang table for year 1, n over sum, 20 over 210 times fixed cost minus salvage value, so 952.38. For year 2, 20 minus 1 over 210 times 10,000 minus salvage value, so 904.76. Sa year 3, 20 minus 2 over 210, so fixed costs minus salvage value, 857.14. So, ginapangutan na lang man, isa daw specific na depreciation in the third year. So, money answer, 857.40. A company purchases an asset for, pareha lang. Okay, let's move on to the service output method. So, the depreciation per unit is given by this formula, dali lang kaayo, fixed cost minus salvage value over the total units of output during life of property. So, ang dili life ang basihan but the units produced. So, ang depreciation is the difference lang sa FC o SV over the total number of units kung pila ang na-produce sa. Okay, example, a certain machine costs 40,000 and has a life of 4 years and a salvage value of 5,000. The production output of this machine in units per year for first year, 1,800 units, second year, 2,200 units, third year, 3,000 units, and fourth year, 4,000 units. If the units are of uniform quality, what are the annual depreciation charges? So, annual depreciation is given by FC minus SV over total number of units. I-add lang nato tanan, pila man ang total number of units. So, 1,800 plus 2,200 plus 3,000 plus 4,000. So, all in all, 10,000. So, ang salvage value, 5,000. Fixed cost is 40,000. So, depreciation charge per unit is 350. Now, if ang pangutana, what are the annual depreciation charges? So, isa-isahon na to na for the first year, ang katong depreciation charge per unit, i-times na to na sa units produced, so 6,300. Sa second year, ang depreciation charge per unit, 3.5, multiplied na to na siya sa na-produce, so 7,700, and so on and so forth. Okay, so, ana lang. Okay, next is working hours method. So, the depreciation per unit, FC, fixed cost minus salvage value over total number of hours. So, instead of number of units produced, number of hours ang basehan. Example, a television company purchased machinery for 100,000 on July 1, 1979. It is estimated that it will have a useful life of 10 years, salvage value of 4,000, production of 400,000 units, and working hours of 120,000. The company uses the machinery of 14,000 hours in 1979 and 18,000 hours in 1980. The machinery produces 36,000 units in 1979 and 45,000 units in 1980. Compute, specific lang ha, compute the depreciation for 1980 using working hours method. So, 1980 lang ta. So, total number of hours, all in all, from 1979 to 1980, 120,000. Okay, so we can solve for the depreciation per hour. So, again, total working number of hours ang basehan ha, pag working hours method, 120,000. So, fixed cost minus salvage value over 120,000. So, depreciation per hour is 0.8. So, kung interested lang man ta sa 1980, so i-times lang nato ng 0.8 sa number of hours sa 1980. 1980 is 18,000 only. So, therefore, the depreciation sa 1980 multiply 0.8 times 18,000. Alright, so that's it. Next, a last machine costs 300,000 with a salvage value of 15,000. It is expected to last for 28,500 hours in a period of 5 years. In the first year of service, it was used for 8,000 hours. Compute the depreciation for the first year and book value at the end of the first year. So, working hours method ta. So, basehan is total number working hours. So, 28,500. Diba, giingon sa problem, expected to last for 28,500. So, depreciation per hour, difference lang sa fixed cost at salvage value. Divide na to na sa total working number of hours. So, we have 10. Multiply na to na sa working number of hours for the first year kasi ang pangutana naman, compute the depreciation for the first year alone. So, multiply it by 8,000. So, therefore, depreciation sa 1980 is 80,000. Okay, and then, unsa po daw ang book value? So, book value always is fixed cost minus depreciation. So, the book value is 220,000. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.